Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to deconstruct one of the toughest minds on the planet, David Goggins. But listen, we're not just here to put him on a pedestal. We're here to steal his blueprint.
See, on the one hand, you've got the myth, right? The superhuman Navy SEAL, the ultra-marathon machine who just eats pain for breakfast. But the thing is, the myth, that's not where the story starts. The real story, the one you can actually use, starts in a totally different place.
The story begins with his own words, not some hero. He describes himself as a person just haunted by fear and insecurity. A kid who, and he'll tell you this himself, ran away from absolutely everything.
So the big question is, how does that person become Goggins? How do you get from there to here? Well, the answer isn't in his DNA. It's in the blueprint he literally built for himself, what we're calling his genealogy of ideas. All right, let's dive in.
Goggins' idea tree, his personal roadmap to strength, it didn't start with inspirational heroes or wise mentors. No. It started with raw, unfiltered pain.
I mean, his childhood was just defined by unimaginable hardship. We're talking a violent, abusive father who put him to work instead of letting him sleep, brutal racism, including death threats from the KKK, all leading to deep psychological scars and PTSD. But here's the absolute game changer. He didn't let that pain become his excuse. He turned it into a weapon. His father became the very first branch on his idea tree, showing him with perfect clarity the kind of man he would never, ever become. This is his first great act of creative theft. He takes the absolute worst influence in his life and pulls out the most powerful lesson. That real strength has nothing to do with control or violence. It's about refusing to be a victim. His father became his most powerful negative ancestor. But a tree needs more than just roots. It needs to be forged in fire, the fire of failure. So with this foundation of what not to do, Goggins' next ancestors, they weren't people at all. They were his own massive failures. His first real shot at joining the special operations world, it ended with him quitting, flat out. During Air Force pararescue training, he was terrified of the water drills. So when a medical issue gave him an easy out, he grabbed it and ran. And man, that failure just ate him alive. For him, it confirmed his deepest, darkest fear that he was a coward, that when things got hard, he would always run. That failure became a ghost that just haunted him for years. So how do you fight a ghost like that? Well, the answer wasn't in some self-help book. He found the antidote in a completely fictional character, Rocky Balboa. He got obsessed with that first movie. Okay, now this is the key detail. The moment that changed everything for him wasn't Rocky winning. It was the look on the champion Apollo Creed's face when he turns around and sees this broken, beaten-down Rocky somehow get back on his feet. It was the shock of seeing someone who just refused to stay down. So Goggins stole that one idea. He decided he was going to become the guy who takes his opponent's soul just by getting back up. And that single idea, which he lifted from a movie, became the fuel for the impossible. He lost over 100 pounds in less than 3 months. He went right at his greatest fear by going to SEAL training. And when injuries and pneumonia knocked him out of it twice, he just got back up and did an insane 3 hell weeks in 1 year. So through this amazing genealogy of pain, failure, and straight-up fiction, Goggins didn't just build a tough body. He built a mental library, a toolkit he could use whenever he was in a world of hurt. And it really all starts with this one number, 40%. This isn't just some random stat. For Goggins, this is the cornerstone of his whole philosophy. Goggins believes our minds have a governor on them, kind of like a car engine. It's a safety switch to keep us from hurting ourselves. So when your mind is screaming at you, "That's it, I'm done, I can't take another step," you're not actually done. You've only used about 40% of what you're truly capable of. You've still got 60% left in the tank. And he learned this the hard way. He entered his first 100-mile race on a whim, with literally zero training. At mile 70, his body just completely shut down. He was peeing blood, his feet were broken. By any normal measure, he was finished. So to get through those last 31 miles, he invented a mental tool he calls the cookie jar. He reached back into his mind and pulled out a cookie, the memory of surviving 3 hell weeks. He told himself, "You've been through worse than this." And that memory became the fuel. This is such a brilliant concept.
Your past pain becomes your future fuel. So here's the most important point of all of this. David Goggins wasn't born superhuman. He was built. And the tools he used to build himself, they are available to every single one of us.
He was the architect of his own mindset. He intentionally chose his ancestors, the negative ones, the fictional ones, even his own failures. And he used all of it as the raw material to forge a completely new identity. So the question really isn't, how can I be more like Goggins? Forget that. The real question is, who belongs on your idea tree? What branches are you going to choose to build yourself with?
No, really. Think about it right now. Who's your negative ancestor? That boss, that family member who showed you exactly who you refuse to become? Who's your fictional ancestor? That character from a book or a movie whose strength you can steal? And what about your biggest, most painful failure? Listen, that's not a scar. That's the biggest cookie in your jar.
And this is where the work starts. Don't just watch this. Pause it. Grab a pen and paper and identify just one ancestor for your tree. Right now, your transformation doesn't start when you feel motivated. It starts the second you decide to stop being a victim of your past and start becoming the architect of your future. It starts when you decide to build.